Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a sharp game to share with you from March 18th, a late titled Tuesday. On the white end, Denis Lazavik playing against Magnus Carlsen. 3+1 time control here. The opening, Queen's Gambit, accepted. Let's get these common moves in here. What is not common in this game is this follow-up move right here by white. Most popular responses to c5 in this position, capture on c5, bishop b3. I'm looking at the Lichess Masters database when I say this. Only 2% of the games follow with this move here, e4. This is the Russian Gambit. Not accepted in this game by Carlsen. No knight takes e4. So what does he do? Well, he develops the knight to c6. Now, I do want to touch on this capture here on e4. I want to give you a feel for, I want to highlight a line here that is a top line, and also one where black could really go wrong. So here's how you can continue in the event of knight takes e4. d5. Bishop e7, I'm putting on a top line here, one of the top lines. So it looks something like this. Queenless ending, in other words, where black is up a pawn, but only temporarily. It'll soon be collected. We're looking at about an even game. Now here's a way black could go wrong after accepting here, accepting the pawn on e4. After d5, if you go ahead and take on d5, white would be in a winning position already. I want to quickly note that in the case of b5 or knight d6, you could ignore that pressure on the bishop. There are these tricks to take on e6, follow up a check on f7. I do include the PGN in the description of the videos, so feel free to grab that and load it into your favorite site and examine this position further. Here's a way black could go wrong. This here, white would already be in a winning position. This bishop is a monster on d5, hitting the knight. Open file to work with, and here's just one sample. After knight f6, there's a trick here on f7. King takes bishop, queen takes queen. The queen will be lost, however you slice it from this point. King steps up, you're asking for a check first. The queen will be toast shortly. So that's how quickly the game could potentially go wrong for black after this capture and push. Taking is losing for black. I also want to note that after this e4 move, if black takes here on d4, the idea would be to continue pushing here with the e pawn, establish that alpha 0 pawn. Knight d5, collect the pawn, bring the queen over here, exert some pressure on the king side. It says best is knight up to d7 here, and yet again we take, but after knight c6 in that case, we have to babysit the e5 pawn. We have a responsibility. Anyhow, how it is played after e4, Carlsen develops the knight. Knight c6 it is. d5 from here. Follow up, knight to a5, that's considered best at this point. If black first captures here on d5, white would be winning, because this open file is going to be a problem for black. So here's one sample line. If knight a5 only now, after first exchanging those e-pawns, white would have this check, and after the block, there's d6. The queen is there. She has a clear view of d6 supporting that, hammering away at the pinned bishop. But in this game, no e-pawn exchange. It's knight a5 straight away, asking the bishop an important question. Where are you going to go? It goes to d3 in this case, so interferes somewhat now with the queen's vision of d6, and only after the bishop is on d3 do we have the capture here on d5. Carlsen ends up collecting a pawn. Notice in this position, check, bishop block. We don't have a pawn around anymore to scare the bishop, to target that pinned piece. Move order matters for sure. How to follow up from here? Well, we continue to develop. Get a knight exchange. Now, how are things looking right here? Carlsen is up a pawn. Well, let's view it like this. White is down a pawn. White has a split structure, but white has a lead in development. These big open lines. Also, what exchange exactly happened on c3? It was that king knight being exchanged for white's queen knight. And I'm highlighting it in that way because this kingside for black is now extremely vulnerable. The king knight on f6, top defender, not around. So there's going to be some kingside pressure. This knight is especially jumpy. Two interesting options. Bishop pointing towards the king's side. Both bishops pointing towards the king's side. Very delicate position already for Team Black. How Black plays it. Develops the bishop here to e7. Sensing that the Black king is certainly the more vulnerable here, there may be this idea, well, why not maybe try for c4? After the bishop moves, we get a queen exchange. Well, not so fast. White could play queen e2 check first, and in response to both blocks, there's bishop to e4. The queens stay on board. So the play here is with bishop e7, queen c2. Nice battery there. Castle, you're going to drop a pawn with check. That'll be a disaster. Queen c7 from here. Rook e1, very sensible, open file. And from here, h6. Just a moment away now from castles. Follow-up, we have knight to e5. This helps pave the way for that final minor piece to play a role. Bishop f4 now, right around the corner, setting up. Discovered attacks. From here, Carlsen plays c4. That's move 15. After that move, we have a decisive advantage. But even with, I want to point this out, even with what's considered best play here for Black at this point, it's already, Black's pretty much still in trouble. So this is what best play is from here. It says go ahead and castle. But even after this castles, this is what White could play. Bishop f4, setting up tricks. Knight g6 being a trick. Queen b6, there's this little rook up and over idea. This is very, very dangerous here. A lot of stuff pointing towards that Black king. It's calling this about plus 1.5. All right, how it's played here, Carlsen's king gets caught in the center. The move played here, move 15, c4. Now, really aesthetic move coming up here, bishop h7. Clearly, you can't castle kingside now. Now, normally, you have to weigh this very carefully. Is there g6 here? Is my bishop going to be trapped? Well, hang on. If g6, you're asking for a sacrifice with either minor piece on g6. Carlsen's play from here is bishop to e6. What would that look like if g6 was played? I'll just touch on one of the sacrifices. You could take with the knight. That seems most forceful. Pawn takes, queen takes. You're not even down in a line like this. You wouldn't even be down barely any material. We're looking at a two pawns versus knight imbalance and a king that's running for his life. And there's not going to be much running left for that Black king with all of this firepower around. So forget about playing g6 here as Black, trying to trap the bishop. It's bishop e6. Follow up now, bishop f4. Knight g6 is an idea. Black from here gets the queen out of the line of fire. Queen c5 on board. Final piece, now activated. No castles, kingside, and no castles, queenside. King is stuck. From here, rook d8. What else can you try here as black? If, let's say, this knight tries to get back in the ball game, here's another fancy move available to white, knight g6. This is crushing. Pawn overloaded. Pawn takes knight. You could first take on g6, take on g7, or simply scoop up the bishop straight away. No knight c6 in this game. It's rook d8, rook exchange. King tries to make a run for it. Bishop f5, mission accomplished. Now that the king is moving in this direction, not needed. On h7, this piece here for black is the glue. Just barely holding things together here for black, hanging on to f7. This point being undermined now. King continues to run. If you're capturing here on f6, you're only inviting the queen into a super active post. Mate threat, fork threat, that's going to collapse fast for black. So Carlsen continues to try and run here. King c8 it is. Bishop down for the count. A new square has opened up. The queen pounces. 2 unprotected points hit. Queen hangs on to e6. g7 pawn down for the count. Can this queen be more invasive? Hitting the rook, hitting the bishop. How do you defend both? The knight can't guard a dark and light. It's up to the king or the queen. If you move the queen back here, that would be a really sad move. You drop e6 with check. You can't block. And next up, you're going to have to walk into a discovery. That's not going to end well. So the try here, the king comes back over to the d file on an open file. Follow-up star move here, bishop to e3. The knight is poisoned. Queen takes knight, bishop b6 check. The queen will be lost next. So what's the try here? Queen d6, guarding b6? Well, actually not really. The bishop can still go there. Does go there in this game with check. Queen takes bishop. Now the rook can get to the open file. Check on board. There's no blocking unless you want to fall for mate in 1. King steps over. Queen takes rook. Lazavik is up the exchange at this point, but after bishop d6 and queen d7, Carlsen resigns here. White will soon be up a rook. The game continued. King b8, and there you go. The bishop is down for the count. Completely winning here for white. So, 29 moves in total, but really this game was over after only 15 moves. Beautiful follow-up here with that bishop h7. Super aesthetic move from this blitz game. Anyhow, what are your thoughts on this one? Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.